Bob's Breakfast.
They shouldn't have chosen a woman to play Doctor Who.
Oh, Daily Mail's up in arms this morning.
Are they? Some fans of the show are furious.
I mean, if you look at some of the comments, especially on the Facebook pages, there's all these angry faces that people have put on there.
This is all since Jodie Whittaker was announced as the 13th Doctor. Some diehard fans saying they'll never watch the show again. Here's some of the things that have gone on Twitter overnight. Doctor Who has been ripped out of its essence to make a bunch of overheated feminists happy. R.I.P. Doctor Who, you will be missed. That's not why they chose her. They chose her because she was the best person for the job. They didn't go, how can we appease overheated feminists? Does that sound like something that would go on inside the BBC? All right, wait, bad example. Here's another one on Twitter. Well, this is one less show I have to watch. Adios, Doctor Who. A woman should not be the Doctor.
Ah.
And this one. The new Doctor Who is a woman. Actually, I don't think that's right. I think the new Doctor is a woman. Isn't it? The Doctor's... The character's called The Doctor.
Yes.
The show's called Doctor Who. I don't think the character is Doctor Who.
No.
So I'm not sure how big a fan this person is. The new Doctor Who is now a woman. I don't like it. I will not watch the new Doctor Who series.
Oh, get over it.
I honestly can't see what all the fuss is about.
No, I don't understand this objection to a woman being a doctor.
No. I mean, these fans, they're quite happy to suspend disbelief and accept the existence of a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
A 1950s phone box that can travel in time and space. Grumpy, man-sized pepper pots from another planet that speak English and shout exterminate. But a female doctor? Oh, that's just too far-fetched.
Bob's Breakfast.
I'm Graham Mack, and on the phone is Mark the Shark. Now, the Shark has been calling me on radio stations all over Britain. He first started listening to me in his hometown of Birmingham, and then thanks to the internet, when I got fired from that job and moved to the next job in Nottingham, he listened to me there. When I got fired from that one, he listened to me in Bournemouth, and when I got fired from that one, he listened to me on Teesside, and when I got fired from that one, he listened to me in Wiltshire, till I got fired from that one. Anyway, now he listens from Birmingham online in his tiny high-rise council flat in Birmingham. And he's on the phone there now. And Shark, what can I do for you this morning?
I want to know is the reason why between 5 and 6
Yes.
you play more music
Yeah,
before them times. Is that to ram in so you can do more talking after 6 o'clock?
absolutely.
I thought so, and
Yeah.
I think it's recorded between 5 and 6.
Do you really? You don't think that's live?
I don't think you're there in the studio. I think you're doing stuff on false pretenses.
Right.
So you can have an extra hour's lie in bed.
Well, I can't be here all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm clever.
Yeah.
And I've watched you
Yes.
from when you went into radio.
Yeah, that's right.
And how you behaved
Yeah.
with the listeners.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's how I behave.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself,
Yeah.
oh, I'm pretty intelligent, me.
Yeah, are you
Right
really?
behind you there, won't I?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Morning, Mr. Mack. Get on with the show anyhow.
All right then. Thanks, Shark.
You're welcome.
Ta-da.
This is Bob.
Let's get the latest news. Chris Hubbard.
If there was ever grounds for a major argument, this could be it. A boyfriend has advertised his girlfriend on eBay
Oh, right. So slavery is alive and well.
as a noisy dishwasher because he says she complains too much about doing the washing up. This is Carl Goddard from Southampton, who's put his partner up for sale on this site, but she says she was more annoyed about the photo he used of her in this.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
He's not worried that she's not worried that she's being sold on eBay, traded like a slave, or a piece of his property. She's not worried about that. She's more worried. I don't like the photo.
Yeah, he put this listing
She
up
is a whiner, isn't she?
on Sunday evening. Apparently, he says she's always moaning about the fact she does the dishes, but in fairness, I normally do all the cooking. While we were out on Sunday, she was annoying me, so I said I'd get rid of her and sell her to someone. She said, you can't sell people, so I thought I'd show you how to get around that. Understandably, it's had a lot of views on the internet. As far as I know, you can't sell humans on eBay.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't know how eBay have allowed this. I mean, I would have thought, like, anything alive. Can you sell kittens and stuff? I hope not.
I don't know.
You know, if you can't sell animals... I don't know. I don't know what you can and can't sell, you know.
I think it's meant to be a bit tongue-in-cheek. I'd like to think
obviously.
so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, that would be cause for a major argument in my relationship. If I thought I could get away with sticking my wife on eBay...
I don't think most relationships can survive that kind of action. Do you?
No. You'd be in the doghouse for weeks,
Yes.
if not months.
Yeah. Mr. Wiggly will be on bread and water, that's for damn sure. Talking about fancy dress stories, Mick, you and a load of mates decided it was a fancy dress thing, and what did you decide to go as?
Yeah, we all decided to go as sugar plum fairies.
And this is all blokes, is it?
Yeah, there's about 5 blokes.
Yeah.
And one of our mates is about 6'4" and he's built like a back of a bus. He's massive, total full of tattoos.
Yeah.
So we all decided to do the old only fools and horses trick, and we decided not to turn up at this fancy dress thing, as fancy dress, and he was the only one who turned up.
He was the only one dressed as a fairy.
We all waited around the door. We told all our mates, obviously, what he was going to do, and he got out of a taxi, and we was all laughing as he walked down towards this... it's like a school. We went to a school disco thing, and we told him it was fancy dress.
And it wasn't. So no one was in fancy dress. Everyone was just in like school uniform type outfits.
Yeah, we just turned up normal.
Oh, you turned up and he's dressed as a fairy. Did he have a wand and everything?
He had the wand. He had the wings and everything. He had tattoos all down his arms, and he walked in, and I told everyone that what he was going to do. So everyone was expecting him, and then we all turned the music off as he walked in the door, and it was like, surprise!
Bob's Breakfast.
Pete's on the phone. Morning.
I've just signed up, Graham, for a quick rant.
Yes.
I've just filled up my van with diesel in a petrol station. I paid by card.
Yes.
I can't believe they put a gratuity fee on it.
I don't think it's a gratuity, because a gratuity is a tip. You mean there's a service charge or something?
No, it had gratuity.
It wrote gratuity? That's a tip. Now,
It had, yes.
did somebody else put the fuel in for you?
No, I did it myself.
Well, what's the tip for?
Exactly. I could not believe it. I had to select the button if I was going to pay this or not.
Oh, I see. It was an option for you to pay a gratuity.
It was an option, yeah.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind tipping. If somebody does something for you, like give them something. Like if someone's been a great waitress or waiter, or someone's been really offered great service, you go, there you go, here's a couple of quid, get yourself a drink or something. But hang on, you went to a petrol station and put the fuel in yourself?
I did indeed, and all the guy did was hand me the card reader.
And he thinks that deserves a tip?
Well, obviously.
That's outrageous. And how much did he want?
£2.
No way! No way!
I could not believe it. I could not believe it.
You didn't pay it, did you?
Absolutely not. I said, is this a joke? And, he just looked and, smiled and shrugged his shoulders.
Yeah.
There you go. And it was a very, very well-known petrol station as well. It wasn't just a private run.
It was a big chain.
It was indeed, yes.
Tell me the name of the petrol that you got, the oil company.
Esso.
It was an Esso station.
Yes.
Wow. I'm stunned.
I couldn't believe it.
All right, Pete, how common is this? Pete, thank you very much for letting me know about this Scam-a-lam-a-ding-dong. Spend any amount of time with my family and you will feel like you're in a sitcom.
Right. You've spent quite a bit of time with them over the last couple of weeks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, 2 weeks with them in the Northwest. Here's one of the incidents.
Okay.
Last week, I called up my Uncle Norman to set up lunch. On the phone, he says to me, "Do you know Agnes has died?" And I went, "No, I didn't." "Who's Agnes?"
Okay.
Turns out, Agnes is my mum's cousin. Supposedly, I've met Agnes at some wedding somewhere. Or
Maybe
whatever.
when you were 5 or 6 years old.
Who knows? Remember, I lived in New Zealand and Australia for 14 and a half years. There's quite a gap there. Anyway. So I thought, well, I better ring my mother in case she doesn't know. So I called her up, and sure enough, she didn't know. I said, "Oh, Mum, I got some sad news for you. Your cousin Agnes has passed away." Oh. All right. So the next night, I'm round at my Auntie Hazel's. And one of the first things I said to her was, "Don't worry, I told my mother she knows all about Agnes." And Hazel goes, "Yeah, your mother rang here last night straight after you'd called her. So we put her straight." I went, "What do you mean you put her straight? Agnes isn't dead."
Right. So there must have been cross wires somewhere along the way, I'm guessing.
It turns out Agnes's husband, Derek, has died.
Not the actual person
No.
who was being talked about. Okay.
No. So I didn't ring my mother back because my mother will think I've got mixed up.
Yeah.
There's no way I've got mixed up because up until I spoke to Norman, I'd never heard of Agnes or Derek.
Right.
And the word Derek never came up. The only name I'd been given was Agnes. So why would I say the wrong one if I'd only been given... There's no way I've got it round the wrong way. There's no point ringing my mother back because it'll all be my fault.
And those two names would stick in your head. You
I
would
think
know
so.
if
There's a
somebody
big...
mentioned
Yeah, I
Derek.
couldn't get those mixed up.
Yeah.
So, I'm just glad that my mother rang Hazel straight after she'd heard from me. Because the next call she could have made, thinking Agnes is dead, would be to Agnes's house, hoping to talk to Derek, to comfort Derek, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that would be the natural thing to do.
Yeah. Imagine that conversation. Hello? Hello, is Derek there? Who's this? It's Olive. I was Agnes's cousin. What do you mean you were my cousin? Who is this? It's me, Agnes. Oh, hello, Agnes. I thought you were dead. No, I'm not dead. Oh, what a relief. Anyway, how's Derek? Oh, check your pockets. If you've got a 50p, check out that 50p. If it's one of these special Beatrix Potter ones, it could be worth a lot more than 50p. Chris brought us a story yesterday. I've been looking, I haven't found any. The one you need is the Jemima Puddle Duck one. That's the one that could be worth about a fiver. Joyce is on the phone. Morning, Joyce.
It's about the Beatrix Potter 50 pence.
Now they're saying that if you have a 50, there was supposedly a Beatrix Potter series of them released a while ago, and now they're saying that the Jemima Puddle Duck one is worth more than a fiver, the 50p.
No, I've got one with Beatrix Potter, 1866 to 1948.
Yes.
That's written on it.
Yes.
And the other one is a Mrs. Tiggywinkle.
Now, hang on. So one of them is Mrs. Tiggywinkle. The other one isn't a character. It's just a tribute.
No,
one.
it's just Beatrix Potter.
Well, as far as
But it shows the rabbit on it.
Right. So maybe it's a Peter Rabbit one.
No, it doesn't say Peter Rabbit on it.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, the one you need is the Jemima Puddle Duck. That's where the gold is.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, I don't know what. Now the ones you've got, they sound. So what happened? Did you get them and keep them then? Did you think I'll keep these?
Well, I just thought I'd hang on to them because they were different.
Yes. Good plan. It's such a shame it wasn't the Jemima Puddle Duck one, though.
I know. Yes.
That's the one that you could really. But would you part with them?
No, I don't think so.
Not for a fiver.
No.
No, if it was like 500 quid, take it, it's yours.
Different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if anyone's actually, even if you did have the Jemima Puddle Duck one, I don't know if anyone's going to give them up. Yeah.
No, well, you don't normally look at them, do you? Just put them in your purse and think, Well, that's a change.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, when you get 2 or 3 and you look at them and they're all different,
Yeah.
suddenly these Beatrix Potter ones popped up.
Yeah. Do you remember the ones on the big old 50p? The ones that had the hands around the edge?
Yes.
Yeah. Were they worth anything?
I don't know.
No, but then they shrunk the 50p, didn't it? It's much smaller now
Yes.
than it used to be. You see, that's because of silicon chip technology.
Yes.
They've managed to miniaturise everything these days, and they've even miniaturised the 50p. The same thing happened with tomato ketchup, you know.
Did it?
Yeah, when you were a girl, you probably remember tomato ketchup came in a huge bottle, and
Yes.
you'd all have to sit round to enjoy it.
A glass bottle.
Yes, and then that was because they used valves, you see, old technology. Along came
Yes.
transistors, and they miniaturised it to the smaller bottle, the pocket bottle, and now it was portable. It could leave the house.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
these days, thanks to silicon chips and microprocessors, they've managed to get tomato ketchup so small it fits in a tiny sachet no bigger than a credit card.
I know.
Isn't that amazing?
It just.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
now a lady can take tomato ketchup out with her, you know, and she
Yes.
can have it on her person without interrupting the line of a tightly fitting cagoule.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. All right. Thanks a lot, Joyce.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Bob.
Big controversy over garden gnomes this morning.
Mm-hmm.
A council has told an elderly gardener to remove his 2 garden gnomes under health and safety rules
Okay.
because
Why?
they moon at passers-by.
They what?
They show their backsides off at passers-by.
These are statues of garden gnomes mooning.
Yeah, and they're not even that big. They're sort of about the size of your hand as well.
Oh, they're little tiny
yeah,
ones.
little tiny ones.
Normal gnomes about what, 12, 15 inches?
Yeah, something like that.
And this one's what, about 6 inches tall? Half
Yeah,
size.
if that.
Half size gnome showing his bottom.
Yeah, that's it. This guy put up these 2 ornaments of gnomes bearing their backsides on a grass verge outside his home. He said it was in a bid to cheer up his neighbourhood. But then he got a letter from council officials claiming the gnomes could cause a distraction to motorists as
Could.
they light up at night.
Could.
Yeah.
Could.
And warned they would cause an accident.
They light up at night?
Yeah, absolutely. They then told him to clear away these items within 7 days or workmen would be called out to remove them and bill the pensioner.
I've mentioned this many times about politicians, and that's what councillors are. They are power-hungry megalomaniacs, and they only get into that job because they want to control you. They have this issue. They don't feel complete as human beings unless they control you. There's something wrong with them, and this is another case of this. Okay, so some people may take offence to the gnome with his bottom out, okay? This is the most important thing that this council is dealing with right now.
Oh, we've got a statement from them as well.
Oh, what do they say?
I think it's appropriate to read it in a Jobsworth voice.
Of course it is, yes.
While we do not wish to spoil people's fun, there is a safety issue here.
Safety issue.
As such objects could easily cause a distraction to motorists and other road users, leading to an accident. We received a complaint.
A
about
complaint.
these
One
ornaments,
complaint, yeah.
which, while seemingly harmless, are designed to attract attention and light up at night. Therefore, we have taken steps to have them removed in the interests of road safety.
I'm sorry, unless there's an example of a near miss or something going on, no.
They've had one complaint by
I
someone
know.
who's had a sense of humour failure.
Yeah. Well,
They're saying it's down to the safety of pedestrians as well.
this is nonsense. Unless there's been an incident, you can't. It could all sorts of things. It could all sorts of things. Someone could be staring at it and trip over. It could, but that doesn't mean it will or it has. Very different. It could. Anything could. Anything, couldn't it? If it was up to,
Absolutely.
they would ban cars because cars. If you go in a car, you could have an accident. That doesn't mean you're going to have one.
If I was looking at my mobile phone as I left this building, I could walk into the side of my
Yes,
car
but
and
you
hurt
should. You don't
myself.
want mobile phones banned.
No.
No.
This guy's saying, how can they be classed as offensive? I put them up 2 weeks ago. No one even approached me to complain or ask for them to be removed. The next thing I know, I get this heavy-handed letter from the council.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing with art is there's a lot of nudity in art. If you've ever been to Florence, I've seen the statue of David. It's fabulous. But his doodle's on display for everybody to see, not just his bottom, everything.
You can walk around a local stately home.
Yes.
The bottoms are out everywhere.
Yes, and you know, the good art, as they once said in a Peter Cook and Dudley Moore sketch, the bottoms follow you around the room. That's how you know it's good art.
Bob's Breakfast.
Hello, Graham.
Who am I talking to?
Mandy. You know what? I'm listening to you. I've been listening to you, and you're with your best friend now, aren't you?
Who's that?
There's two of you on air now, aren't there?
Oh, Chris Hubbard. Yeah, he's a good bloke.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, my babies are together. Seriously, you know, I've loved you two for a long time, and I'm like, oh my God, they're together now. Because I can hear you, and I rung you, and when I rung you, one of the times, is like, I could hear you on air, and I was like, whoa! Yeah, I just want to say, you know, I miss you.
You miss me? What? Wow, you don't need to miss me. I'm on every morning between 6 and 9.
Oh, do you know what? You make me laugh. You actually, you make my day, you make my week, you make my year. And the fact that you two are on together, and I know you're on together because I do listen to Bob at work sometimes. I go to work, put the radio on, you know, but I know you're both together now. It's like made me happy.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mandy.
This is Bob.
The gender pay gap.
Are we talking about the BBC?
Yeah, well, this has all been exposed, hasn't it? And this is one of the biggest shocks over the pay that BBC presenters are getting. So many of the men being paid way more than so many of the women. Have you seen the video of the breakfast TV news?
I've seen stills of it. I've not actually seen the video itself.
It's really funny. What's his name? His name is Dan.
It's Dan, isn't it? I can't remember his surname.
And her name is Louise. Let me see if I can...
Louise Minchin, isn't
Louise Minchin. You see, look at that. You can remember her full name.
I can't remember his name.
You can't even remember his name.
No.
He's on over £200,000 a year. She didn't even crack the 150 list.
He's saying that it's because he does work on the sports side of things as well. So he reckons it's the combined income. That's
What, he gets
why
an
he's
extra...
paid more.
Assuming she's on 150,
Yeah.
or just below, 149. Does that mean that doing sport pays £51,000 extra?
That's not a bad little earner, is it?
Dan Walker, that's his name.
That's right, yeah.
Dan Walker. Well, this is making news worldwide. And as you know, this program, Bob's Breakfast on BOBfm, is a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
And someone who listens in New York, New York, so good they named it twice. New York City is Walter Sabo. Morning, Walter. He not only listens live when he can, the bits he misses, he catches up with on the Bobcast. The best and worst bits of this show. You can subscribe at iTunes. Well, it's actually called Apple Podcasts now. It's not iTunes.
Is that what it's
they
called?
changed the podcasting bit. Apple Podcasts. If you go to Apple Podcasts, the app on your iPhone or your Android device or whatever, you can subscribe to the show, and that means whenever a new one is published, a new one's published every week. There's one published yesterday, a fresh one. It means it shows up in your device and it's in your hand and on demand, and you don't miss a thing. Anything that gets a lot of complaints, anything where Ofcom's involved, goes straight into the podcast because they don't govern. It's not regulated. That side of things, not regulated.
Prime material.
Prime material. And I have to admit, I wasn't going to... This show does have a dirty little secret. There are a few things that I think, you know what, it's not worth saying that because just too many people will complain. And it'll go through Ofcom and we'll have to send some tapes and it'll just go through. So I just put them exclusively in the podcast.
Oh, do you?
And they don't go on BOBfm.
Oh.
Yeah. There's at least 2 things a week that are exclusive to the podcast that I thought, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to do them for the podcast. And they would generate... Because you can complain all you like about the podcast. It's unregulated, the internet, not regulated by Ofcom. So stick it up your what's your name. Right? So anyway... So that's obviously why Walter likes listening to that as well, the Bobcast.
Yeah.
You don't have to subscribe at Apple Podcasts. You can get it at bobfm.co.uk. It's in the breakfast section there. Check it out. Anyway, Walter Sabo in New York. He emailed me, and I emailed him back. First of all, Walter says, "Am I the only human being that remembers that for decades the highest paid talent at the BBC was Cilla Black? Did the men protest?" Now, I remember Cilla Black started on the BBC. She had a couple of very successful Saturday night programs. They were big shows.
Surprise, surprise. Was that
BBC? I don't know. I'm talking about like late 60s.
Oh, right.
And the 70s. There was a show she had in the 70s where she used to come on and she used to open the show with... It's a good song for opening a show. Something tells me something's gonna happen tonight. That's a great...
It is, yeah.
Right, yeah. And it was huge. Surprise, surprise, that was the
I've got a feeling
mid-80s.
It could have been ITV.
Well, I know that Blind Date was ITV. But surprise, surprise, I missed all that because I was in Australia, New Zealand at that time. But anyway, I know that when she became the highest paid television presenter in the UK, she was on ITV. It was Blind Date. But I see Walter's point here that there have been highly paid female media stars in Britain and the men didn't complain. Now, I'm guessing he's trying to stir things up here. From New York, from a safe distance, pulling the pin on that grenade and throwing it over the Atlantic. Thanks, Walter.
Good distance away.
And please, don't shoot the messenger. I'm only telling you what Walter's put in his email. So I emailed Walter back with what I knew. I said, Cilla started on BBC One on Saturday nights in the late 60s and 70s, but she didn't become the highest paid TV presenter until her husband Bobby, who was her manager, did a deal with ITV for her to host Blind Date in the 80s. And I also put in here, because I know Walter's emailed me before, and I know he's a massive fan of Paul O'Grady. And he discovered Paul O'Grady through Cilla Black.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, well, he discovered Cilla Black through her music, and then he found out she was a TV presenter. He started digging deeper, and then he found out about her friendship with Paul O'Grady. They were best mates.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've added this. I've said, by the way, did you know that Blind Date is back on British TV, this time on Channel 5, and the host is Paul O'Grady? Isn't that perfect? And I actually think that is really nice.
Yeah.
Because I think if you asked Cilla who she would like to take over from her on Blind Date, she'd say Paul O'Grady, wouldn't she?
And by all accounts, that programme's going down really well.
Is it? I haven't seen any of the new
I've
ones yet.
I've not seen any of it.
And he does seem like the perfect host.
Yeah.
Right. So I emailed him that back, you know? So then he emails back because he's still on this gender pay thing.
Yeah.
And who got paid more, Paul O'Grady or Lily Savage?
Bob's Breakfast.
Hi, I'm Graham Mack. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like it, put a link to it on Twitter or a like on Facebook and subscribe at Apple Podcasts.
Being told to touch base is apparently the most annoying of all office jargon. The phrases blue sky thinking and game changer also feature in a list put together by the job site Glassdoor.
So low-hanging fruit didn't make the hated office jargon. I hate that one.
I'll have a look, see if it's in there, because it's quite a big list, actually.
I'm sure it is.
Let's have a look. Low-hanging fruit. No, it's not in there, actually.
Low-hanging fruit did not make the list of office jargon that's hated the most.
No. Touch base is in there at number 1.
Yeah.
No-brainer is also in there. A thought shower. Have you heard of that?
No.
And that's in there.
Thought shower. An information download. I've heard of that one.
Oh, right.
Used to have that on a conference call.
Run it up the flagpole.
Okay.
If you don't like it, get off the bus.
All right, okay.
Mission statement is in there as well.
Yeah.
Loads of places have these mission statements.
It's just people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so they latch on to these stupid phrases.
Yeah. There's a place I used to work at came up with this massive long slogan, which is plastered on the wall of every single radio station now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, well, I worked for a radio group and they came up with quite a short slogan, but they gave it to everybody on a little card. and it was "We Love New."
Oh yes, I remember that.
You had that? We had that. You had that. You worked for them as well.
Yeah, I did.
GWR.
Yeah.
They owned about 35 radio stations, and had "We Love New." But every time you pitched them a new idea,
it got thrown out.
Yeah, it's like they even did a "We Love New" competition, right?
Yeah.
You tell me whether this is anyway. They had this thing. They said, right, or whichever radio station comes up with the best idea, they will win the fluoro fridge. And the fluoro fridge was a fridge that was full of like drinks and snacks, and it would go in your lunchroom, and it would always be full.
I remember this.
The fluoro fridge.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
You remember this
I remember
thing?
the general excitement surrounding it.
Around the fluoro fridge.
Yeah.
Right? And they wanted the best brand new idea, cutting edge new idea. So I came up with this new idea. I said, this is what we do. We find somebody in the local area that needs a kidney transplant. And then we find them a donor on the air. And I looked into it, and it's illegal to do that.
Oh,
you're not allowed, unless it's a family member. You can't donate a kidney unless you've died and you're on the donor list.
Right.
But a living person cannot donate another living person, stranger. However, it's not illegal in India, which made it even better.
Okay.
I said, right, we find somebody who needs a life-changing kidney transplant in the local area,
Yeah.
and we find somebody who is willing to donate the kidney. And the person who is willing to donate the kidney wins an all-expenses-paid trip to India.
Okay.
With the person who needs the kidney.
Yes.
And we have the work done in an Indian hospital.
Yeah.
Officially. And we pay for it all. And, and I even had a name for it. The Tandoori Transplant. Right?
Right.
And I thought, well, the people who say "We Love New,"
Wait, it's certainly new.
Could you imagine the worldwide? In fact, I'm worried about saying this now in case another radio station steals this idea. Could you imagine the worldwide press a stunt like that would generate for a radio station?
It'd be phenomenal.
Be phenomenal, right? Be the biggest thing that had ever happened to that radio station group of radios ever. In the history of commercial radio, it's quite possibly the greatest ever stunt that's ever been proposed. And I came up with it. We didn't win the fluoro fridge.
How disappointing.
The station that won the fluoro fridge was a station. No, we love radical new ideas.
Yeah.
The station that won the fluoro fridge was a station that was going to get people to spend some time doing someone else's job, shadowing someone else so they can see what their work involves. Isn't that like a real weaselly, watered down thing that's been done a million times and will make virtually no difference to the opera? The one I came up with would have made so much money in advertising because everybody would have wanted to advertise on that station because everybody would have been listening to it to see what happens in the Great Tandoori Transplant. I even got solicitors involved, everything, and made it legal. It was all legal. I had it all in a huge proposal.
Oh, wow.
It was all worked out.
Yeah.
It was totally legit. We had sponsors for it. We had a restaurant on board. I know that. The Great Tandoori Transplant never happened. I'm just saying now, if you hear it on another radio station, I came up with it first in 2005.
Bob's Breakfast.